Early in my college career, I read a paper by John Carey which talked about designing for dignity. Dignity and design go hand in hand, as design in people's spaces should reflect how they view themselves, as keeping the user at the center and striving to create spaces which build people up. For me, designing for dignity started with my room, a space where I first encountered the impact of design. For most of my childhood, I shared a room with my sister. When I eventually had my own room, I became consumed with being able to curate it in a way that was uniquely tailored to my needs. My room was a space where I find self-expression. These walls are an archive representing my story, and it evolves as I do. Design's ability to affect us both positively or negatively is something that really drove my curiosity in architecture. It was architecture's innate ability to evoke emotion and have a palpable effect on perception that made me think deeper as I myself saw what intentional design could do in people's lives. My name is Auriel and I'm a fourth-year architecture student at Thomas Jefferson University. Throughout history, architecture has been used as a weapon against communities and specifically marginalized communities. Through practices such as redlining and the creation of highways which cut off resources, it is clear that architecture holds power. Architecture makes a lasting impact on society, economy, and culture. It has a precedent of being used to isolate, however, it has also been used to unite people and represent common goals and ideas. Through my design process, I strive to push the possibilities of form, while also understanding the layers of history of the site and working in tandem to the user's needs. This project, titled Against the Grid, is a cultural music center located in Rome, Italy, a project I completed while studying abroad in Rome. The goal of the project was to reactivate an empty lot within one of Rome's major tourist centers. There was a panel of community members who came in to discuss their desires for the space. The area has a high number of craftsmen and shop owners, and from this meeting, I decided to make the site a space for both the tourists and the artisans to interact, and allow the craftsmen to have more visibility for their goods. The site's location creates a potential for cultural exchange and becomes a space for the community while still leaning into the tourist nature of the area. Many sites in Rome can feel very private and therefore not inviting to the general public. However, I decided to set up an ordering system of a grid and then break it to signify a grander entrance that drew people in. The project itself is inward focused as all the views and programmatic spaces are oriented around the gardens. This allows for people to exist within the city but also have a sense of separation and room to interact in more meaningful ways. The site begins to form a clear path through connecting the exterior of the city center to the more dense hub. This newly created node that the site intervention creates becomes its own destination in the city. The site had existing structures on it which need to be considered in the design, such as the ruins of an ancient stable and a residual facade. The site's existing ruins are highlighted through a museum which is designed above the ruins to allow the visitors to see and learn about the site's past. The existing facade becomes repurposed into the new music center facade and becomes another way to celebrate the past of the site. Key features from the context of the surrounding structures, such as the angle of the window shutters, was repeated in the new facade to tie the new to the existing. The outdoor and garden spaces tie together the different programmatic elements, creating a holistic experience going from the busy street of Lungo Tevere and descending down into the gardens, and then exiting on the more residential side of the site. Rome has a limited amount of green space, especially in the city center. Therefore, this design proposes the implementation of green space that still remains rooted in Rome's context. Rome is mostly hardscape, therefore a combination of key points of hardscape was combined with local plants to make a site-appropriate solution. My goal was to create an intervention that respected the context and building typology already seen in Rome, while implementing new and creative elements, as well as placing a new spin on the existing, creating a hub of culture and music amongst locals and tourists. I've always been motivated to constantly grow, learn, and improve. Gensler represents a way of doing design that also sees the importance of research and continuous learning to remain engaged in the world. As a designer, I constantly strive to remain involved in various activities and interface with different people groups in order to diversify my perspective. I'm passionate about equity within design and remaining focused on serving people through the spaces I create, and feel I will effectively contribute this drive to the firm. Dignity is about knowing your intrinsic worth and seeing that worth reflected in the places you inhabit. It's not an aesthetic goal or a measure of the designer's saintly ambitions, it's a quality of the user's experience. Architecture has the potential to impact people in a significant way mentally, physically, and emotionally. Whether designing for dignity is used in small spaces such as one's room or on a larger urban scale, architecture holds power. I want to design spaces where people feel welcome, seen, and able to exist without questioning if they belong. We all deserve good design.